Hello artists and welcome to Drawing Level E. Let's get started. This is going to be so much fun. Alright, I'm on an experiment page and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my name at the top and then I'm going to put that I'm at drawing and I'm on level E. Alright, here we go. Let's take a look at our levels sheets to see what we're learning today. We're getting close, guys. It says I can shade using white, light gray, dark gray, and black. Ooh, okay. I can use paper not to smear my shading, okay? I can make objects in the foreground have crisper shading, make objects in the background grayer, and make objects look 3D, and shade the whole picture plane. Oh, that's a lot of things. Okay, that sounds kind of hard, but it's really fun. So let's take a look here. This is what it might look like at the end, or this is what part of this will look like at the end here. And so when I experiment, we're going to visit looking at three-dimensional shapes, shading, and in this cone shape. Okay, so the first thing I need to do here is I'm actually going to show you this cone that I have here. And I'm going to show you a couple things about this cone. Okay, number one, I see that there's a shadow. That's the first thing I'm noticing about this cone when I look straight down at it. I can see a shadow. That means that I know my light source is somewhere over here, right, kind of where my hand is. It's somewhere over in this direction because the shadow is on the opposite side of the light. The next thing I notice, if I flip us around here, oh, there we go. There's a good picture of the cone. All right, the next thing I notice here is that it's a triangle shape, but the bottom's not really flat. If I look at this, it doesn't really look flat. If I were to put a straight pen right here, I can see that it gets cut off when I look at it. It looks kind of rounded, so I need to remember that when I draw it. All right, so let's get that out of the way, and let's continue with step one is my experiment phase. I went ahead because I know that this might be a little simpler and I'm going to draw. I just grabbed the triangle tracer and I went ahead and I'm going to draw two triangles. I'm going to go ahead and draw two of them here. One, and I'm going to leave some space for my shadow. All right, now I also want to, now this would be, I can make this dotted if I needed to, but what I'm going to do here is I know that I need to curve it downward. So I'm just going to add a little curve on it to show that it is curved. Okay, and now the other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to pretend like I have a light source. So I'm going to pretend that I have a light coming from over here, like the sun is hitting it from this way. So that means somewhere over here. So that means that my shadow is going to come off over here and it's going to come off back here, and they're actually going to collide like a triangle would. So I'm going to just kind of sketch this in. It's okay if I mess it up because I can always, feel like that needs to come down a little bit more. That's better because I can always erase it or try again. All right, now that I have that, I'm going to grab one of my ebony pencils. I'm going to grab a blending stick here, and I'm going to grab a stick eraser, maybe a big chunky eraser too if I need it. Okay. Because the shadow, things that have a shadow are going to be darker on one side and lighter on the side with the light. So I'm going to go from dark to light. Okay. So when I start over here, I want to press darker on this side, and as I start to move over across to the other side, it's gonna get a lot lighter. So I'm gonna press harder. And one of the things I want you guys to do is know that this process will take a while. You'll have to go back and forth. It won't be that you just shade this once and then you're done. No, you're gonna have to play with it and go back and forth and really start to get this right. And then I'm actually going to leave it white right there in my letters because I'm going to use my blending stump to get some of that shadow moved over. All right, let's see where I am. All right, I am going to go ahead and start blending here. I'm going to start blending this out and just kind of see where we are. I want to make this nice and smooth. I can always add more pencil. It gets harder to take away. It gets harder to take away. So I can always make it darker, but it gets harder to make it lighter. So I want to be very careful of my whites. This is why it's a process going back and forth. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and add this, kind of smooth it in so it looks really light. Now, this isn't a very smooth blend to me, so I've got to go back over it. I need to go and make some more areas darker through here. So I'm going to go back through with my pencil, and I'm going to start adding some darker areas through here. All right, and now I'm going to keep going here. Patience is the goal here, guys. Patience. It's going to take a little bit. I might find that this is a little too light through here, or that this isn't light enough in some places, so I might need to go in with my eraser and really start to erase some of that. I might have to try it again. All right, so for the purposes of movie making, we're gonna say that Mrs. Nichols got this to the point she wanted it. Like it's starting to really look three-dimensional like this one. This one's not quite here yet, but we're gonna say it is because I wanna show you the shadow. All right, so the shadow, the darkest part of the shadow is actually gonna be right around the base. So to outline this part of the base, I am just going to add a dark mark with my pencil here so that I know exactly where the base is. Okay, then again, lighter to darker, I'm going to move it around. And look at this. I'm going to start getting, if I don't start moving my hand around, I'm going to start getting pencil everywhere. This is on my rubric. It says that I can use paper to not smear my shading. So I'm going to have to start working on top here. If I start working on top, my hand is going to smear all of this everywhere. So I'm going to take an extra piece of paper that I have, and I'm going to put it right on top so my hand will stay nice and clean. It won't ruin all the work that I've just done. And again, I'm going to go ahead and go darker over here. I can always add more. And then I'm going to fade out into the shadow. Fade out to where you can hardly see the shadow anymore. Really light. And then again, I'm going to go ahead and take my blender here and I'm going to smooth it out a bit more. I'm going to smooth it out. I notice I'm going outside of my lines here just a little bit, so I need to be intentional and I am going to shape those up. If it's really close to me, it's going to have nice crisp lines on it. And then I might have a secondary shadow. I might have a secondary shadow coming off of it somewhere like through here. So I'm going to go ahead and add another secondary, very light secondary shadow. I might notice that on my paper. And then again, I can blend it. And I don't have to just blend back and forth. I can blend in a curve as well. All right. Then once I have this where I want it to be, then I'm going to move down to step 2. I'm going to create a mini art. And you're going to take these cones, you're going to do one in the foreground, one in the very front, and it's going to be really nice and crispy clean. It's going to have some really nice transitions. And then look at this one. This one in the back, because it's farther away from me, is smaller. It's smaller. And look at that shadow. This shadow is really crisp. This shadow has defined lines, whereas this shadow kind of looks a little bit more like a blob. All right. So then when it says finish the picture plane. I finish the picture plane by getting in a background versus a foreground. So we have my sky in the back. So maybe it's nighttime there. That is level D or level E at the Drawing Center. Happy creating!